What's up everyone, Darcblade here with a patch information video for Monster Hunter World. Now this is a patch for the PC version of the game, and Capcom have simply called it Title Update 2. But if you check the revision number, it's numbered 154766. This patch introduces the Autumn Harvest Festival to the game, and there are quite a few bug fixes and gameplay changes. So let's go through what this patch brought with it. First of all, in terms of new content, they added the Autumn Harvest Festival. This is starting on the 5th of October and will run for about 2 weeks. They also added more event quests, including Up at the Crack of Dawn, Every Hunter's Dream, and the challenge quest Vespoid Infestation. These weren't currently available on PC, and all of these, especially Every Hunter's Dream, brings with it new items. Every Hunter's Dream in particular is very important if you're a greatsword user, as you get arguably one of the best greatswords in the game from it. On top of that, they added a free character edit voucher, which players can use to edit their entire appearance. You can get this from downloading it free from the Steam store, but you can only do it once. Afterwards you would have to pay. Also on top of this, thanks to the Autumn Harvest Festival, new cosmetic items will be added. For example, the Handler's Mischievous Dress will be added, new gestures, sticker sets, and hairstyles. All of these will be available from the Steam store. And they've also added a motion blur option to the advanced graphics settings that you can turn on or off. By the way, let's move on to the combat bug fixes. These are changes to the weapons, as well as some skills. Now most of these changes have already been applied to the console version, so if you're coming over from the console version, you may already be aware of these. Anyway, first with the greatsword. They addressed the bug where holding down the right trigger while landing after the second stage of a plunging thrust would not allow you to transition into guard. This is now fixed, and you should be able to block as normal. Also, the behaviour of the camera during tackle 1 and 2 was going back to normal when the action finished, which resulted in unforeseen behaviour. They have now been fixed to match the behaviour of the camera from tackle 3. Next, moving on to the longsword, there is a fix to a bug where the Spirit Blade would be performed on its own after the player fails to connect with Foresight Slash. The right trigger input would remain in the input buffer and executed after a side dodge was performed. They also addressed the bug where the spirit gauge would not decrease and damage would not increase when jumping Spirit Blade 3 connected on its target while your spirit gauge was at red. The damage will now be increased and the spirit gauge will be correctly consumed. Next, moving on to the lance. Now we have a few of them here. First, there was a fix to a bug where the mid thrust would occur if attempting a guard dash after a counter thrust. They also fixed a bug where the forward guard dash would occur regardless of the direction you were pushing. And lastly, they fixed a bug where the guard dash would not work properly if the player preemptively input the guard dash when the player and the directional button was pushed completely at the same time. Anyway, let's move on to the hammer. They addressed a bug where the charged upswing would be performed when charging and attempting to perform a spinning strong upswing while moving down a slope. This was before you actually started to slide. With the switch axe, there were a few bugs that were addressed. The first fix was to a bug where the directional control type 2 would not work properly when pressing forward during the switch axe's overhead slash. The second bug fix was to the wild swing attack hitbox, where it would not appear mid-attack when the timing to press Y to perform the axe overhead slash was too fast. And lastly, there was a fix to a bug where the file gauge would not replenish when using a whetstone while the weapon was sheathed. Next, moving on to the charge blade. They fixed a bug where the axe would continue to rotate when cancelling from a super amped elemental discharge to a amped elemental discharge while you had no file stopped. And secondly, they addressed a bug where the connecting animation would not play and instead the attack would be performed when cancelling the last half of a recovery animation like knock back, blow back, etc. with the amped elemental discharge or super amped elemental discharge. Next, moving on to the insect glaive. A bug related to the strong jumping advance and slash was fixed where only the final attack would receive the benefits of the airborne skill. Now all attacks within the move will receive the skill buff. This is a great fix for insect glaive users out there. And finally, with the weapons, with the bow, there was a bug fixed to the Dragon Piercer where it would fire outside of its intended range when the reticule moved out of range the moment the Dragon Piercer was fired. This has been a constant issue on the console version of the game, so hopefully it will only require one update to fix it on PC. Anyway, moving away from the weapons to the specialised tools. These include boosters and mantles. They fixed a bug where the usable time for mantles would decrease during animations such as sniffing tracks or just simply standing still. It is now being fixed so that the mantle's usable time will not decrease when performing these activities as originally intended. Next, moving on to the skills, they addressed a bug where the effective time of a cool drink would be overwritten by a player using wide range skills. Basically, when the wide range player used a cool drink, it wouldn't check the effective time of the cool drink on yourself. It should only be overwritten when it actually prolongs the cool drink effective time. They also addressed a similar bug to the effects of might seeds and adamant seeds, etc. that would be overwritten by a weak effect produced by a low-level wide-range skill given to the player by a palico. It is now being fixed and only will be overwritten if the effect is larger than the player already has. Next, with the items, they fixed a bug where the easy life powder's effective range was smaller than regular life powders. It is now being increased to match the effective range of the standard life powder. Next, with the camera, there has been a bug fixed where the target camera would target other monsters by itself when targeting a slain monster's body. That disappeared during multi-monster slay quests. So that's about it for the combat gameplay changes that came with this patch. Also with this patch, Capcom have added a ton of general bug fixes. Most of them are minor changes, so I'm not going to read them all out here. Some of them do address matchmaking issues and online gameplay, which is great, and Monster Hunter World could always benefit from smoother online play. The general bugs also had various UI and information fixes. There were also a ton of localization bug fixes addressed here as well that apply to the different languages that Monster Hunter World is in. But if you're at all interested in these general bug fixes that came with this patch, I'll leave a link down in the description below to the patch notes where you can check them out. But overall, it's great that PC have finally got another patch to bring them closer to catching up with the console version of the game. I am a little bit disappointed that they didn't add the Kulturov Siege with this patch, but hopefully that's not too far away. It's good to see that the weapons are getting the bug fixes that they need, as well as the introduction of more event quests. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this patch? Leave a comment down below. And until next time, I've been Darcblade, bringing you a patch information video for Monster Hunter World on PC. Hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, subscribe and like for more.